Hello and welcome. Today we're bringing you some rather unpleasant cricketing moments from recent times. Get ready to witness some truly unsportsmanlike conduct as we dive right in. First up, we have what is referred to as the darkest day in Australian cricket history. During the third test of the 2018 Test series against South Africa, Aussie batter Cameron Bancroft was caught on camera giving the ball a proper shine with some sandpaper. As the umpires approached him, he did what any person would have done in that situation: shove the sandpaper down his pants. The damage had been done at that point, and even though the match still went on, there was some unease around the ground. In the evening, a guilty Steve Smith sat at a press conference with Bancroft and came clean about his plan to tamper with the ball. David Warner was also named as a conspirator. The Australian Cricket Board were quick to set an example. Smith and Warner were handed year-long bans, and Bancroft was slapped with a 9-month ban. While Smith and Warner have since then made successful returns, Bancroft's career has never truly recovered after this shocking incident. Next up, we have one of the most disappointing incidents to have ever taken place in the history of cricket. During the 2010 Test series between England and Pakistan, 3 Pakistani players were caught in a spot-fixing scandal that shook the entire cricketing world. A sting operation conducted by News of the World had implicated Salman Butt, Mohammad Amir and Mohammad Asif in a fishy deal with a bookmaker. Unfortunately, this information turned out to be true, as Amir and Asif went on to bowl some ridiculously large no balls during the match, just as the reporters had predicted. The aftermath of this scandal damaged Pakistan cricket's reputation beyond repair. The 3 cricketers involved were banned for varying lengths of time and jailed. While Butt never really deserved to make his return due to his major involvement, it was heartbreaking to see Asif's career end in the way that it did. Amir would make a return after 5 years, but he never truly lived up to the hype his early days once promised. Now for some rather confusing comments from Windies man Shannon Gabriel. During the third test of the 2019 Test series between the West Indies and England, Gabriel took offense to Joe Root's calm demeanor as he came on to bowl and decided to ask him if he liked boys. More because he caught Root smiling at him. We all understand what was implied here, of course. Root was quick to shut down Gabriel's comments in a respectful manner, but the ICC didn't take as kindly to this incident. Gabriel was handed a warning and a 4-match ban. Credit to the Windies man though, as he owned up to his mistake and publicly apologized for the comments, citing that he didn't realize they were in poor taste. Root also brushed the controversy aside, stating that players make comments in the heat of the moment, but they should stay on the field. Compared to the other incidents, this one turned out quite okay in the end. Here we have one of the spiciest incidents from the 2023 Ashes. During the second innings of the second test, Johnny Bairstow wandered out of his crease on the last ball of an over. Alex Carey rolled a ball onto the stumps, the Aussies appealed, and a bewildered Bairstow was sent back to the dressing room. Now, the over hadn't been called, and despite the boos and abuse from the English crowd, the Aussies were completely within their rights to dismiss Bairstow in such a fashion. The laws of the game literally allowed this. There was a lot of unnecessary talk about the spirit of the game and not a lot of talk about how Bairstow should have just stayed in his crease. Stuart Broad also jumped on the bandwagon and decided to have a go at every single Aussie in sight. Credit to Joe Root though, he later stated that it was indeed Bairstow who was at fault, not the Aussies. At least one English player was honest about that incident. This might be one of the softer incidents you'll see in this video. After claiming Abhishek Sharma's wicket during the 2025 IPL, Digwesh Rathi dismissively waved the batter away before bringing out his trademark notebook celebration. Sharma was taken aback by this aggression and stopped to confront the bowler. Some words were exchanged and eventually the matter was settled, but not before Rathi received a couple of demerit points for his behavior. The Lucknow supergiant spinner had been accumulating demerit points throughout the season over similar gestures and was handed a 1-match ban after this incident. Was the ban really justified though? looking back at Rathi's celebration, we're not so sure. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. During the 2013 BBL, we got to witness one of the most heated exchanges in the middle of a cricket pitch. During the first innings, Marlon Samuels had playfully grabbed David Hussey while the latter was attempting to run back for a double. This wasn't appreciated by Hussey and his team, and in the next innings, the late great Shane Warne returned the favour by having a go at Samuels, tugging at his shirt and asking him if he would like to grab some more people. Things soon reached a boiling point when Warne tossed the ball on Samuel's shoulder while fielding, prompting the Windies man to throw his bat away. Players were rushing in, Hussey was pointing towards the thrown bat, Samuels was livid, and Warne was making gestures that seemed to suggest that Samuels was loopy in the head. Real ugly scenes. However, this didn't last for long though, and Samuels top-edged a bouncer from Malinga onto his own jaw shortly after, ruling him out for the remainder of the match. The 2024-25 Border Gavaskar Trophy was another entertaining test series with its fair share of drama. Youngster Sam Constas had just made his debut for the Aussies during the fourth test, and despite his nervous start, he started growing in confidence, unsettling some Indian players in the process. While Constas was in the 30s, Kohli decided he'd seen enough and walked the entire length of the pitch at an angle just to barge into the young Aussie at the other end. No one was sure why Kohli would do such a thing. There are much better ways to unsettle a young opponent. This rather odd piece of psychological warfare was received poorly by the fans and commentators, and Kohli ended up receiving a fine for his actions. And as karma would have it, Constas ended up smacking the Indian bowlers some more, finally getting out on a well-made 60 off 65 deliveries. This might be the worst example of poor sportsmanship we've seen in some time. During the first test of the 2013 Ashes, Stuart Broad edged a delivery from Ashton Agar straight to slip. In a surprising turn of events, Aleem Dar turned a blind eye to the obvious dismissal, and Broad casually walked down the pitch as if nothing had happened. Now, it's important to note that Broad wasn't breaking any laws by not walking off, but given how much England talk about the spirit of the game, we're surprised none of his team members dragged him back to the dressing room themselves. Michael Clarke was livid with the decision, but all he could do was furiously chew his gum and say a few words to the umpire. Audacious stuff from the Englishman, and not in a good way. Pakistan versus India is always an exciting encounter, even with the reduced level of competition that we see today. During their match in the 2010 Asia Cup, Kamran Akmal decided it would be a good idea to appeal excessively against Gautam Gambhir. The Indian batter obviously didn't appreciate that, and during the drinks break, let his feelings known to Akmal. We're not sure what was said, but the conversation soon devolved into a heated spat between the two, with plenty of angry finger-pointing. Umpires were quick to intervene, and a smiling MS Dhoni arrived to pull his teammate away. In hindsight, this wasn't the worst thing we've seen in cricket, and it wasn't an uncommon occurrence in this fixture either. Here we have Jos Buttler having a proper go at Vernon Philander during the latter's last ever test match. The reason? Philander didn't move out of the way quickly enough for Buttler to collect the ball. While this wasn't a big deal at all, the Englishman lost his cool and started ranting about how Philander was a knobhead for not moving out of the way. Ben Stokes was standing at first slip looking like a proud teammate, and he chimed in as well, stating that Buttler wasn't wrong. All the while, Philander was staring at them with a confused expression on his face. The reaction from Buttler was a tad unreasonable given the situation, especially since it was Philander's last ever game. Could have cut the guy some slack there, Joss. Ah yes, time for Ravichandran Ashwin's notorious Mancad. A completely legal yet controversial mode of dismissal that is still heavily debated today. During the 2019 IPL, Ashwin brought out his favourite party trick and ran out Jos Buttler while still in his run-up. Buttler was shocked, but Ashwin threw his protest aside by telling him that the non-striker's crease was the bowler's space. An angry Buttler then had to trudge off, as commentators debated whether this was the right thing to do. Funnily enough, this wasn't the first time Ashwin had done something like this, nor would it be the last. His persistence did eventually pay off though, because the man cat is considered more acceptable now, even if it still isn't liked as much. Next up, we have some unsportsmanlike shenanigans from the Aussies. During the 2008 Test series between India and Australia, Ricky Ponting pulled off a stunning catch to dismiss MS Dhoni. The only issue was that he had grounded the ball, but that didn't stop him from appealing. Luckily, the umpire didn't fall for it and Dhoni survived. Now, in the same match, Australia did manage to pull off a similar heist against Sourav Ganguly. Michael Clarke had taken a sharp catch in the slips, but while rolling over, he too had grounded the ball. In this case, however, the umpire decided to take Ponting's word for it and dismissed Ganguly. The great Sunil Gavaskar was on commentary, and he went on a full-fledged tirade against the Aussies and their lack of honesty on the field. It didn't help that Ponting had edged one behind to the keeper in the same match and refused to walk. Sheesh. We can guarantee that you've never seen something like this before. During a T20 match between Australia and England, Mark Wood bowled a sharp bouncer to Matthew Wade. The ball took a top edge, pinged off Wade's helmet, and went straight up in the air. While Wood rushed to catch the ball, a dazed Wade spun around and then put out his arm to prevent the bowler from reaching the ball. And then he dived back into his crease just as the ball bounced onto the ground. The English players were disappointed, and rightly so. While it's true that Wade was a bit shaken by the bouncer, we can't quite understand why he would block Wood's path. In a show of good faith, the Englishman decided not to appeal against this brilliant bit of defending from the Aussie. But the question still remains, what was Wade even doing here? During the 2014 IPL, two literal cricketing giants went toe-to-toe and almost caused a panic in the stadium. After a sharp bouncer from Mitchell Starc to Kieron Pollard, words were exchanged between the two. The big Windies man waved the Aussie away and play resumed as normal. On the very next ball, however, Pollard pulled away at the last second, prompting Starc to deliver the ball regardless right at the big man's legs. The bat went flying, tempers flared, and everyone came rushing to the pitch. While Starc and Pollard continued to dish out pleasantries in the middle of the pitch, umpires and a concerned Chris Gale walked up to defuse the situation. Luckily, the fight ended as soon as it began because boy, this would have been extremely unpleasant to watch. Starc and Pollard having an all-out brawl? No thank you. And lastly, the most blatant yet hilarious exhibition of unsportsmanlike conduct you will ever see. During the 2010 ODI series between Australia and Pakistan, stand-in captain Shahid Afridi resorted to desperate measures to try and drag his side over the line. While the motivation was admirable, the action he took was absurd to say the least. In an attempt to generate some reverse swing for his bowlers, Afridi stuck the ball in his mouth and started chewing around the seam. Quite literally, the man was going at it like it was a midday snack. Unsurprisingly, he was caught on camera and ended up having to explain himself to the umpires. The explanation wasn't very satisfactory though, as he was handed a 2-match ban for his questionable decision-making. Oh, and Pakistan still went on to lose the match. Not great scenes, to be honest. And there you have it, folks. Some of your most unsportsmanlike cricketing moments from recent times. As always, be sure to like and subscribe for more crazy compilations from the gentleman's game.